Guys. This is No Filter Productions, and I'm here with Samia Hoke. Okay, so probably people in my audience, I don't know, people who watch my channel, they probably have seen you in the protests. I don't know. And we're just gonna basically talk about, we're just gonna basically talk about situations and like kind of like have a little interview, a little debate to hear people's perspectives, because that's the only way to understand each other's sides, is to hear the other sides and their perspectives and their views, and why do they listen, why do they have those, why do they think like that. So yeah, that's how you gotta do, because it's not good to fight. No good to fight. People fight, it's stupid. Okay. Yeah. So let's start with you. First question for you. Go.
Yeah. You're asking, or I'm asking?
You're asking. Go.
Okay. So basically, one thing that I have in mind is basically, what is your stance? Like, what are you trying to accomplish with attending these protests? Do you have kind of a goal, or like, what's your stance in that?
Okay, well, I've been working in media. I've already graduated in a media program at a college in Brampton, Toronto, Humber College. I don't even know. But basically, I'm just trying to accomplish my field in media into basically just capturing footage of the events, footage of what's going on. It doesn't always have to be protests. I'm trying to do other stuff, but at the moment, because protests and all these riots are so popular right now, it's on the spotlight. Yeah, exactly. I'm just basically capturing those events, and then, you know, maybe creating it into a documentary, trying to establish a little platform, is try to like establish an image for my brand, you know, because I have like different stuff I do other stuff. This is like another side thing, and it will help me, because it also helps me when it comes to revenue, because, you know, I see that my YouTube, it's starting to increase my revenue because of the videos I post up. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, sorry, your video cut out a little bit there. I got most of that. Okay, so like, what are you trying to get out of this, I guess, or like, is there something you're trying to get out of
I guess like I even like wrote on what's it called, a piece that I write, and basically I'm tired of the mainstream media and the portrayal of both sides, and how one side is good, one side is bad, one side is bad, one side is good. It's stupid, you know what I mean? So I feel like if I can capture all these events and try to see each other's sides and their perspectives, people can understand what are they saying. But unfortunately, though, trying to capture the left side, some people on the left are very, how do I say it, intolerant. Like, they don't like to listen. There are some people who actually do listen. There's some people who I can actually have good conversations with. I remember one guy, he was white. He had like curly hair, and he was talking to this Indian protester, and Nathan Phillips, and they were discussing, and he was like more understandable, other than the people beside him that they were just yelling and whatnot. And so I spoke to the guy after the Indian guy left, and I told him, hey, you know, these people, they don't hate refugees, they don't hate immigrants, they just don't like this law that's happening, because most of them are actually immigrants, most of them are actually refugees. So like, it kind of defeats the purpose to say that refugees are welcome here when you're saying that to refugees, because I've spoken to these people, and it's fun.
I think basically the whole rhetoric and idea of these protests in general, it does make Muslim immigrants and refugees feel unwelcome, and there are a few individuals on kind of the right side of the platform who do preach intolerance to refugees and Muslims, and I guess that aspect. And I think that's kind of what we're focusing on, because that becomes dangerous. I don't feel like everyone is that way. I feel like a lot of people are there to learn and have other concerns of their own. But there definitely are a few individuals who have publicly spoken about their kind of stance on refugees and their intolerance in that kind of area. So I think that's kind of where they're coming from. But I would have to agree that I don't think everybody has that view or opinion.
Exactly. Okay. My question to you is, what are you trying to achieve? Like, what is your goal? You're aiming for in regards to currently with all these protests? It's basically the same question you asked me. Just yeah. It's just.
I guess my stance on this, partially similar to yours, because I also am a photographer. You know, I'm getting an organization going on. So there's a few main key points as to what I'm trying to achieve. Basically, first and foremost is I'm trying to get a better understanding of the other side and kind of their ideologies, what they're trying to accomplish, their views and opinions, and get a better understanding of that so we know how to better work with them and what areas need to be worked on. And also, I guess, to raise awareness on Islamophobia and oppression within the Muslim community and other marginalized communities as well. Because with a lot of these right-wing groups, Islamophobia and oppression is present. And there's no denying that. Not every individual holds these views or opinions. But when you have groups like Soldiers of Odin attending these protests who do openly kind of hold these views and opinions towards Islam and Muslims and refugees, and that's who's supporting that side, right? So I think there's, you know, basically, I think there's a good opportunity to open up dialogue and conversation as well. And I think that needs to happen in order to break down a lot of barriers. And I mean, what are we going to accomplish with just constant fighting and war? And, you know, I think in order to really get somewhere, we need to understand where both sides are coming from and really get a good idea of what everyone is trying to accomplish and their views and opinions on things, right? In order to understand the situation, you need to first understand the people and their mission. So I think that's kind of where I stand, to stand in solidarity with our community and other communities as well. So there's kind of a few reasons why I do attend these protests. And
Okay. I got two questions to respond to that. The first one is, what do you, how do I say this? Let me see, how do I say this? Like, what do you know about the Soldiers of Odin? Because I've spoken to them, and most of their ideas don't really sound like the Soldiers of Odin from Europe, because I know how they started there in Europe, and they're very
absolutely,
I can say they're very right wing when it comes to refugees, especially Muslim refugees. But here in Toronto and especially in Vancouver, I've seen interviews with them. I've even spoke to them, and they're very friendly. They're not really upset when it comes to like Muslim refugees. They want people to come there, like, you know, with the process. They want them to go through the process and, like, you know, be vetted and whatnot. But they're very kind people. Actually, many of them actually help a lot of people. I've seen videos where, you know, they actually feed the homeless, that they go out, help out with charity and whatnot. Also, they actually clean up the mess that Antifa makes, because I saw a video from this YouTuber who I watch. He's a very funny guy. He's an immigrant, and he was actually interviewing these Soldiers of Odin, and he was with them, and they had to go to these spots where Antifa usually abide, and they usually have like all these graffiti marks that says like no Nazis and like all this like rudeness and like profanity, and it was just very upsetting to see that. And these people, they had soap, they had water, they started cleaning out, they started washing it, and they were just basically explaining their views and like their vision of what they believe in, because they don't want to stick themselves around to what the Soldiers of Odin in Europe think, you know. So I was very surprised to hear that, because in America, when it comes to like Black Lives Matter, like some people, they have a different view when it comes to Black Lives Matter. Like, I guess, like, just kill cops, and I hate cops and dead cops and whatnot. And then there's some people who, they stand up for Black Lives Matter but don't have that same idea. Maybe it doesn't fit in with the whole group, but it's in different sectors. Because also in Toronto, the leader of Black Lives Matter, the girl, she has said very, very dumb things, especially when she even called the prime minister a white supremacist, which I was just very shocked to hear that, since Justin Trudeau is a very PC type of guy.
Right. No, I think you made some very good points. I have kind of mixed opinions with the BLM. But in terms of Soldiers of Odin,
you got to be careful of saying that, Sonny.
No, I don't oppose them. I don't, I'm not against them.
No, BLM. Be very careful, because if anyone hears that from you, then who knows, People are crazy.
Yeah, no. And the Black Lives Matter is basically, it started as a protest movement. And I think they do really good work in terms of trying to combat racism. However, there are a few individuals who obviously don't hold the same opinions of the whole group, but who do, as you mentioned, say and do not quite smart things. But the group itself, there's nothing that I can say against them. I have no problem with them. In terms of Soldiers of Odin, now I think we need to keep in mind that these kind of groups, Hells Angels, Soldiers of Odin, they like to put on kind of a clean, squeaky face to the public. They have their PR guy who tries to kind of, everything is filtered. Whatever you see in public and whatever you see on their Facebook pages, it's all filtered. The real information you'll get is on the deep webs, where they operate most of their, where they operate mostly. Now, again, I don't think everyone in that group holds these kind of hateful, fear-mongering, and racist or Islamophobic opinions. But it is definitely strife. And I can give you one good example. The president of Soldiers of Odin, his name is Danny Boy Miller. He actually sent me death threats on Facebook. And the caption read, "Is this the kind of woman you want in your Canada, Jihadi Johnny? She's Antifa communist, or she's a communist working with Antifa. Hang that up." I'm not Antifa, okay? Now, hang that up. It's a very old white supremacist slogan, which they used in the old days when they would call for the lynching of Black people. I obviously took screenshots of that, and he removed it quite quickly after they realized that we had seen this post. And now this is the president of Ontario's chapter of Soldiers of Odin saying quite Islamophobic comments and calling for my lynching, which is uttering a death threat. So when you have a leader like that of this group making those kind of comments, what is one supposed to think? What kind of opinions are you supposed to gather on this group? I'm not saying all of them hold these views and opinions, but when someone like the leader is holding these kind of views and opinions, these people earn their badges one way or the other. They don't earn their badges by walking old ladies across the street. That's not how it works. Sure, maybe they do some okay things, cleaning up harm reduction supplies in the parks and cleaning graffiti. I'm not saying they haven't made some accomplishments and some great things. But anyone is capable of doing those things, right?
Okay, so I guess like how you say like the president and how he has spewed those I guess you could say hate mongering words towards you and those messages. Would it be like the same, like be similar as in how UC has said those stuff about white people? Like she is the leader of Black Lives Matter in Toronto. So would you consider that the same thing?
Well, what was the comment that she made?
Oh man, it's all online, but like if you want, I could just search it up right now.
Just an example of what she said so I can get a better idea.
Okay, let me see if I can like find this, because this is something that I was just very surprised.
I mean,
even Huffington Post said that was the most stupidest thing, and
Yeah,
I was just like, wow,
true. You know,
wow, this girl actually said that.
yeah. I haven't seen that post personally. And I don't like to speak on things I have little knowledge on. However, I feel like even if calling someone a white supremacist isn't true, it's a little bit different than making completely racist or xenophobic.
Okay, I found the comment. Do you want me to say it?
Yeah.
Okay. Whiteness is not humanness, the statement begins. In fact, white skin is subhumanness. White people are recessive genetic defects. This is factual. White people need white supremacy as a mechanism to protect their survival as a people because all they can do is produce themselves. Black people simply, through their dominant genes, can literally wipe out the white race if we had the power to. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Even
that's a very radical and inappropriate comment to make.
And then here's another one if you want me to say it. Okay, let me see if I can find what she says. I guess maybe she's Muslim. I don't know if she is.
No, Muslim would never make comments like that.
Well, like, I mean, if she considers herself Muslim, that's how it is. You know what I mean?
What's her name?
Yusra Kogali.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so this is what she said. It's an infamous tweet. Please, Allah, give me strength not to kill these men and white folks out here today. Yeah, please.
Yeah. See, so I've heard that tweet. I've condemned it personally and publicly. And if anyone in the Muslim community had seen those tweets, 100% they would have condemned her. That's a very radical, inappropriate view to hold. Definitely goes against the standards of Islam. Sense. There are many verses in the Quran and Hadith that specifically go into racism. Now, there is one specifically, you know what? Give me one moment. Sorry.
Okay.
Because this is very to mention. Just a second.
I want to try to go to number 2 now.
Okay, one second. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, because you're cutting out a bit. Yeah, so basically there's a hadith.
Okay, now you're cutting out. And now I'm cutting out.
In Islam, an Arab has no superior. Cutting out?
Yeah, hold on. Okay, now.
Hadith in Islam, and it reads something along the lines of an Arab has no superior over a non-Arab, and vice versa is not superior over person, and vice versa. So Islamically, what she said is really inappropriate. It really makes me angry to hear someone say something like that. There's lots of white Muslims. My mom is white. I'm half European, half Pakistani. So it's just inappropriate. There's no words for it. It's disgusting, and nobody should say anything like that. That would be like saying all Muslims are terrorists. You cannot blame the action of a few individuals on a whole nation.
Well, is it possible maybe, because I know there's like different sectors of Islam, right? So there's like Sunni, there's Shia. is it possible maybe she has like a different type of practice? Like maybe she practices.
Islamically, all those sects are incorrect. There's only one sect, and that is Islam. Either you're Muslim or you're not. You practice Islam or you don't. You follow the true footsteps of the Prophet.
So wait, you're not Shia or Sunni?
If I had to identify, I would obviously identify with Sunni. However, what I'm saying is this is incorrect because at the time of our Prophet, may peace be upon him, he basically warned us against the division and certain sects being in place, and he mentioned that these would be incorrect. There's only one way to practice Islam. So we're all human, we make mistakes. So if somebody who identifies as a Muslim makes a mistake, that is the doing of that person alone. And there is no sect in Islam, there is no teachings in Islam that allow that or that justify those actions.
Okay, well, that's the thing. It's like you would say that truth, but to someone that is a Shia or maybe I think it's called a Wallabi, something around that, they would say that you're wrong, and they would say that what they're saying is truth. So how does it feel that like there's people who have like different views, and how can you actually get around with that? Because I know lots of people who, they're Sunni and Shia, but they can actually talk to each other. They can actually be friends, even though they disagree with many things. But in the Middle East, though, yeah, it's not the same at all.
Sorry. Okay, yeah, I missed almost all of that. You cut out completely.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard me say?
That basically, if it was coming from a Shia or a Wahhabi, that they would say I was incorrect.
Yeah, because I know some friends who they're Shia and Sunni, and they might not get along with each other, but like they're okay, even though because they have different views. But in the Middle East, it's not even close. It's basically war. I mean, that's what happens with all these things that are going on there with Iran or Iraq and Syria.
The Sunni sects make up anywhere between 92 and 97% of Muslims, and the rest being Shia and other small sects. Now, it's kind of similar to a Jew, a Christian, and a Muslim. The Jew feels like the Christian's teachings are wrong, and vice versa. Everyone believes that their religion is the true religion, and their way is the right way. Now, it's the same thing with this. So I feel like there's really no way around that.
Well, I honestly don't think so, because here's the thing: is that Jewish people believe that the Messiah has not arrived. Christians believe that the Messiah has already arrived. Christians, though, in the Bible speak about how we need to protect every Jewish people, how the nation of Israel is the most protected, how, we must bless Israel. If we see a Jewish person, bless them because they are the chosen ones. That's what we believe, okay? So it's kind of like, it's not like really this very comparison. It's just kind of like, as us Christians, we must support the Jewish people. And also when it comes to the whole battle with the Jewish people and Muslims, all I know is that the Jewish people, they had, Abraham. And then for Islam, they believe it's the nation of Ishmael. But then the Jewish people, they believe it's the nation Isaac. And
they're all Abrahamic religions.
Abrahamic religions, yeah, of course. But like Christianity is like it's way different, different.
I feel like Christianity, Judaism and Islam are the two, out of the three religions, they're the two most religions that have been preserved the most. In terms of Christianity has been changed, the Bible rewritten by man. They believe that the New Testament or the Old Testament was a mistake, and Jesus, may peace be upon him, rewrote the Bible and said, no, here's a new set of rules. So there's a lot of kind of gray areas that I feel anyways personally. So there are differences in the three religions. And now if you ask a Jew, which religion is the true religion? He will say Judaism.
Of course.
If you ask a Christian, they will say Christianity. If you ask a Muslim, they will say Islam. So we all believe that our religions are the true religions. And that was kind of the example that I was trying to make. Like if you look at different sects in Islam, as you mentioned, each person from each sect will feel that their way is the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Not trying to move out of the subject. I was actually going to ask you this last question in regards to basically when it comes to Sons of Odin and like right-wing people who are Islamophobic. I have a question though, like how can you define Islamophobia? Because too many people would say Islamophobia is this and that. But let's say this. Let's say here's a problem when it comes to M-103. Okay, because they say that if you not like commit a crime, but if you do something as Islamophobic, you can be condemned. Okay, so here's an example.
That's incorrect.
That's what it says in the MP statement that M-103 it condemns Islamophobia and any racial discrimination. That's what it says.
Okay, one sec. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up the exact wording right now, just so there's no confusion. Now, okay, here it is. So on the government page, it says, text of the motion, that in the opinion of the House, the government should A, recognize the need to quell the increasing public climate of hate and fear, and B, condemn Islamophobia and all forms of systematic racism and religious discrimination, and take note of House Commons Petition
E411 and the Canadian Heritage Undertake Custodian.
So now it's a non-binding motion, which means you're still legally, you still have the right to condemn these religions if you want, and basically hold your views and opinions and criticize them. You will not be prosecuted for that.
No.
However, the motion is merely stating, like, listen, this is what our government stands for. We don't tolerate religious discrimination of any kind, including Islamophobia, no racism. You can still hold these views and you won't be prosecuted simply for the mere idea of free speech or whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't call it free speech, I would call it hate speech. But this is still the freedom that our government is giving to people, regardless. And it's mainly just a study looking into the issues that people are facing within religious discrimination and racism, ultimately. Yeah, so I don't remember what the original question was.
Well, that's the thing. Like, can you like really like define Islamophobia? Because I remember like reporters, they asked Ikra, is that her name? She's the MP who created M-103, and she had no answer. So that's the thing. What I'm thinking of is like, can you really know what Islamophobia is? Like,
There's two things in my opinion of how I would define Islamophobia. Now, the first thing I feel like in terms of the motion, it should be worded a little bit differently, but there's really no way around that. I feel like there should be something that includes discrimination against Muslims. I just feel like Islamophobia, basically, it's a phobia. Phobia means you have a fear or something. Like I have a phobia of spiders. Now, if somebody is freaked out by Islam or they have a fear of Islam, that would be a phobia. That would be Islamophobia. Now, so it's a little bit of a gray area there because it's more of a phobia and not so much discrimination. But with this
hold on.
But with this phobia comes discrimination and criticism and kind of fear-mongering, hate rhetoric, and also radicalism. So it is appropriate in a way because with Islamophobia comes these issues. However, it should be a little more clear. That's how I feel.
Okay. So like, for example, I don't know, you're a soldier, you're working in the Middle East, you're basically there in the Middle East for 3 years and you've seen your friends get killed because of like radical Islam. And then you come back and then what? What did you say? still there?
Okay, now you're good.
Okay, what was the last thing you heard me say?
When a soldier goes to the Middle East and they see their friends get killed.
Okay, so his friends get killed by extremist Islamic, right? So then they come back to Canada and, you know, they see in downtown, they see these, I don't know if you can say, like, I guess radical, but like radical Islamic preachers who have said things. Because I've seen videos, I've seen them like on downtown. And is it okay for them to be like a little, like, they feel something? They have like a sense of fear because they've seen that stuff in the Middle East. And maybe they understand what the person is doing, but they kind of have like that feeling that, like, you know, like, I don't like this stuff. I feel uncomfortable hearing this stuff.
Okay.
You know, that's kind of fear. So is that wrong? Is that wrong to be Islamophobic then?
Okay, there's two things. In terms of the whole Middle East, I'm not really going to get into that because I feel people should be able to defend themselves in their country. Now, whether their fears are justified or not, that's beyond the point. I feel like if you have a fear on something, it is your responsibility to educate yourself on that topic and really go out of your way to figure out why you have the fear and try to combat that. You know, otherwise you're just going to be ignorant to the subject, and a lot of issues arise with that. Now, is it okay to have a fear of something? Absolutely. However, it is still your responsibility to work on that to make sure that you can engage and integrate in society appropriately, and rather than just blaming it on a whole nation of people. So, you know, I feel like if you want to criticize Islam, so be it. You know, that's your supposed freedom of speech.
Okay.
However, to be done so in a respectful and appropriate way. Sandra Solomon, that's obviously not done so in a respectful manner, and it's causing a lot of controversy, and that's what they want.
Okay. So here's the thing. Like, let's say this. I'm in North York. I'm in Toronto. I'm with my sister. There's this guy. He starts harassing my sister. He starts touching her, and I beat him to the ground. And like, we leave. But someone films it. They see what happened. And, you know, cops come around, and they found out, I don't know, the guy's name is Mohammed Abdu, something like that. And then the news finds out. Do you really think the news is going to listen to my side? Don't you think they're just going to paint me as Islamophobic? Because that's the thing. That's why some people are afraid, because what happens if situations like that have happened? You know, people would consider the person who beat out the Muslim guy because he's Muslim. He had to be Muslim. It's Islamophobic, or it's anti-Muslim, and then that person will probably feel, I don't know, be persecuted by the media.
Okay, you cut out again. I really wanted to hear what you said. Something about the media.
Yeah, because the media is gonna paint that person who beat up a guy who happens to be Muslim Islamophobic. I mean, think about it. Like, the mainstream media, it's very liberal nowadays. It's very liberal.
I feel like there's issues on both sides in terms of the media. I feel like
it's like
that's how the media is. They paint the picture they want to paint. Now, the issue with that is for years and years and years, they've been painting the picture of Muslims as being terrorists and someone's fear. So now I feel like they're trying to make up for that in a way by siding with Muslims, the Muslim community. However, you know, issues come with that as well. I mean, I feel like, you know, the media, they have their own agenda, and obviously you need to do your own research when it comes to, you know, a media article or source. However, when people say that these are fake news, or such and such didn't happen, these hate crimes are fake and whatever, that is a very naive comment and assumption to make, because there is a large rising of Islamophobia.
But like the thing is, like, it's like when President Trump became elected, out of nowhere, hours after, you hear all these hate crimes that are happening against Muslims, but then 1 week after, you found out that they were hoaxes. You found out that people were, they said it was a lie, that they just did it so they can get out of trouble by their parents. But that's the problem, that because of that, the ones that are actually happening they're not being told. And then when that actually happens, and when they want to say it, the media maybe not doesn't want to believe it. People are not going to believe it because of those people who made those fake hate crimes. And it just makes the ones who actually went through the hate crime be
hate crime. I feel like people want to believe that these things aren't happening, and they kind of want to, they kind of want to.
But like that's wrong. That's wrong to create hate crimes.
Yeah, but I've never heard of a Muslim making a hate crime.
Oh, I can like send you like all these links. It's sad though. It's real sad.
Well, again, I don't believe that. I personally experienced at least 30 different hate crimes. If we're talking, assault and just verbally attacking people. I've been spit on, all kinds of things, just for my appearance. Now,
but do you think maybe it's because of like your appearance, or because like your religion, or maybe it's just because they just don't want you like personally, like maybe they feel a bad vibe with you, but it's not because of like your faith, but maybe it's just because like.
But it doesn't matter. There's no excuse for it, right?
No, I know what it means.
We can't justify it, right? So if someone has faked a hate crime, that's wrong, because it's kind of like, the girl who cried wolf. However, I just don't believe that, there may be one or two cases of a fake hate crime. I don't believe it's a large thing. I don't believe, it's a large issue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't know what to say on that topic.
No, it's okay. Let's try to go to the second question. Okay. Oh my gosh.